Well, part of me is kind of embarrassed to do another one about when I was younger instead of something that's current. Um, but I'm gonna go ahead and do it. And I have a worksheet I've now online too, and it's the event takes place when I was I think around 13, uh, junior high, ninth grade, um, school concert. I was in the choir, and we were all lined up, the ninth grade class, lined up down the hall before we went and performed. And the choir teacher said for the girls to, you need to wear hose. And I don't know if everybody knows, pantyhose or nylons. Um, and and my dad wouldn't let me wear them. And we kind of got in a big kind of argument about it, and he was pretty adamant. I don't even know if yeah, I don't know. And so my stress is at my dad for being so inflexible, and yeah, and the event happened before the concert, but then when I was standing there in the hallway, uh, there were some boys across the hall. We were on both sides, and they pointed out and they started laughing at my legs, and I felt really odd. Um, so my statement is for line two is that I want him to stop suppressing me. Says my dad, I want him to stop suppressing me. That's what it felt like that he was doing.
Okay. Yeah.
Instead
So
of thriving, he was suppressing me.
gotcha. Because he wasn't allowing you to wear hose.
Yeah, everybody else did it except me. I mean, I looked really odd.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Well, let's do the work on that.
It, yeah.
So in the hallway, the boys are laughing at your legs, and you've already had that conversation with your dad, and he's adamant that you're not going to wear hose.
Yeah.
So you want your dad to stop suppressing you. Is that true?
Yes.
And can you absolutely know it's true? You want him to stop suppressing you.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So how do you react? What happens when this thought is floating around in there somehow and these boys are laughing at you? How do you react when you think you want your dad to stop suppressing you?
I'm thinking that I got a bummer of a dad, and I mean everybody else's dad said okay. It's like why did my dad, not? Um, I mean, like my mom didn't say anything about it. My dad was the one that made the decision, and I just think yeah, I just feel I'm very frustrated. I was mad, upset. I still am, and it just kind of I've just felt like that it really made me feel odd. Therefore, I just felt odd in my interactions with other people. I just, you know, yeah.
Yeah. So how do you treat your dad, either in real life or in your mind, when you think you want him to stop suppressing you?
Um, I, I fight back. I'm obstinate. Um, I'm not. I react how he's reacting to me. I just meet him, and yeah. And I noticed in different images. Um, I was out for a walk the other day, and it just kind of was thinking about this, and I think that I approach life a lot like this too, being kind of pushing back instead of with people. Not all the time, but occasionally. Kind of my maybe my mo, part of my mo, and it's tiring to be kind of having that approach.
Hmm. Yeah. And
You
wanting to
know,
stop.
yeah, part of me just wish I would have. I was so scared, but part of me I wish I would have just put pantyhose in my pocket and put them on down at the bathroom before we went to the concert and just say, you know, um, but I did.
Yeah. Okay, so we're looking for the effect of this thought. Any other effects that you notice when you're thinking you want him to stop suppressing you?
I think he's. I don't know. By him doing that, it feels like he kind of suppressed my sexuality or being a female. He was afraid. I was the youngest of four kids, and um, so he had a lot of experience, but he just acted extra. Uh, he just acted. I don't know. He just had his thumb down on me um,
Mm.
a lot. I mean, he just was in my face, and so. Um, I'm just frustrated, by that because it kind of impacted the way that I may interfaced or talked with um, the opposite sex.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that I was kind of I wasn't wild, I was, if you want to say, a good girl, but he just kind of acted like that. He had to really control me because I was going to get myself in trouble.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
So when you look at your reaction when you're thinking, I don't want him to do that, I don't want him to be suppressing me or have his thumb down on me, like you've described it a lot, but anything else how you react when you think that?
Well, I withdrew. Yeah, I withdrew. I became quiet, and I just kind of felt kind of like a downer.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like I could approach him and just sit down and say, "Hey, let's talk about this." If his word was the law or whatever you want to call it, ruled the house, and so instead of fighting back, I just tried to avoid.
Yeah. It's an interesting effect of the thought, right? Like when I believe I want him to stop suppressing me, then there isn't any possibility of having a conversation. It's like I have to just wait until he stops suppressing me, and there's just no. It's a powerless kind of place, actually.
Yeah,
So these are, we've reported a lot here, but these are a lot of different effects of believing this thought or having this thought. I want him to stop suppressing me. So imagine now that you're standing in the same place, all lined up with your class. You're the only girl that doesn't have pantyhose on, and the guys are laughing at you, and your dad wouldn't let you wear them. Imagine now if you're standing there experiencing that, but you don't have any thought about wanting your dad to stop suppressing you. Who would you be?
well, I wouldn't take it so seriously. I would have put some pantyhose in my pocket and went down because I just felt, I wouldn't have that weight on me from him, being scared of what he would do. I would, yeah, I would just take it more lightly, and um, I could look at him and see that he is just trying to uh, guide me um, into a path of being uh, of staying out of trouble. And I mean, I could see that even then, but I'd be willing to sit down and talk with him and about this and how I feel. Um, instead of, so I'd be open about it. I'd even talk to my mom and say, maybe have my mom sit down with my dad and I and just kind of try to loosen him up.
Yeah. It's interesting how different options start showing up when the
Yeah,
thought isn't there.
right.
I want him to stop suppressing me. It's like, oh, just waiting for him, and he's never going to do it. But without the thought, um, different options. Yeah. Yeah. So this is how a thought can put us into a stranglehold. It can just absolutely lock us down. Um, and seeing the difference with and without the thought helps to understand the power of believing that thought. How much, in a way, power I give away when I believe that thought.
Yeah. Yep. And I would also, when the guys are laughing, not all the guys, it was just group of, four guys. Uh, and I would probably smile at them and start laughing and just say, hey, this is what this is, having a stern dad is, and start laughing. And I wouldn't have that victim role. I mean, that victim kind of image, like I'm the one that's the odd one, or because, yeah. Um,
Wow.
or I came from an odd family, I would just say, "Hey, this is what happens," and I just joke about it. I wouldn't
Yeah.
take it so seriously. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not that bad. Now I can look back and see, it's just one of those other rights of growing up, and um, one of the stories I'm sure that are out there.
Yeah. I mean, it's easy when you look back on it, but it's what's cool is what you were saying when you were in the situation and
Yeah,
how
yeah,
there was suddenly possibility to joke about it or to be like, yeah, that's my dad, and like there's a kind of a playfulness or an ownership of it or something there, which is lighter than when the thought is there. I want him to stop suppressing me. I've been suppressed, so I'm in this sort of suppressed state, and now anyone who does anything to me is just aggravating that, and I just want to push them away, and it's more proof why I'm suppressed. You know how it just goes into a vicious
yeah,
circle.
yeah.
Yeah,
Spiral.
yeah. So without that, it's first of all, you could grab some pantyhose, you could talk to your dad, and you could like take the guys joking like in a lighter way that might have been
Yeah,
different. This just shows that these pop up like without any real effort here when that thought isn't there. I want him to stop suppressing me. So the thought is really what's causing the stress in this
yeah,
situation.
yeah. My interpretation and judgment of the situation.
Exactly. Yeah. So how would you turn this thought around just to explore the opposites and see if there's any truth on that side? I want him to stop suppressing me. That's the original thought. What would a turnaround be?
I want me to stop suppressing me.
I want me to stop suppressing me instead of him.
Right.
Okay. Give me some examples of how that could be as true than you want him to stop suppressing you.
Well, when they started laughing, I just remember looking down and being, yeah, looking like a victim and wishing I could disappear.
Yeah.
So that was me suppressing myself.
That's you
Yeah.
suppressing yourself. So, like, this is what's so cool to see is that whatever your dad did, Like there may have been some suppressing. Who knows how we will look at that in a minute. But regardless, there was some suppressing going on right there of of your own self.
Of myself. Yeah, I kind of took it on, that energy that he had, and took it on, but kept it on me like it was really, um, it was real.
Right. And you
Yeah,
couldn't help it at the time. It's not like you had a choice because you were believing this story that he was
I was
suppressing
believing
you.
the story. Right.
So
Yeah.
you nothing you could do at the time, but as we look at it now and we kind of re-experience it, it starts seeing that there was like some of this was me doing this to myself that I didn't have to. And if I was in the situation again, I might have more options at that point.
Yeah.
So how else? Any other examples how this turnaround could be true? I want me to stop suppressing me.
Well, I mentioned about I could have made a joke about it and um, kind of lighten it up and just say, hey, this is my dad doing this or whatever. So I didn't have any choice. So I could have made I could have um, joked about it and made light of it.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
That's a great way. Yep. Any other ways you could have not suppressed yourself or not gone into that level of suppressing?
Mm, I just could think my body language. I could really feel tight and my jaw really tight. Um, uh, so I was kind of frozen, you know, trying to be
Yeah.
invisible. So that
Yeah.
was, suppressing.
Yeah. Trying to be invisible. That's a major
Yeah,
suppressing, right? Yeah.
right.
There could be.
And trying not to look odd, even though I didn't have pantyhose on.
Yeah. That would
I
be
want you guys to
suppressing.
know that this was winter time, so being that age, my legs are white,
Totally.
Yeah.
So, any other ways that you were suppressing yourself in this whole scenario?
Just in my thinking, and I might have already mentioned that,
Hmm.
just believing into the thought of what happened, what he said, I just took it to heart and, you know, uh, not seeing that it was his outlook and his fears and that he was putting it on me and I was putting it on myself by believing into it and not questioning it.
Yeah. Yeah. People can do things to me, but I can take it to the furthest place, where it really is me getting suppressed and really getting shut down.
Right.
Like people can bring it to my door, but I take it the rest of the way or not. Yeah. So the turnaround is kind of cool. It's like I want me to stop suppressing me. Like that if that option is there, let me take that option if possible and exercise that freedom which is actually there.
Yeah, and if I kind of make it a living turnaround, I guess, if this is right, um, by not taking it so seriously and not thinking, so what that they laughed at me. They're just a bunch of guys anyway that think they're jocks, um, and they're not being real. They're not acting from their heart. And so by not taking it so seriously, by yeah, having some levity to it.
I like it. Yeah. So what would
And
be another turnaround? I want him to stop suppressing me.
I don't want him to stop suppressing me.
Okay. Could there be any truth or any insight from that angle?
I don't want him to stop suppressing. Well, I get attention,
Okay.
um, which it doesn't seem like he only would. I got attention from him whenever like he was disciplining. So I mean, at least I got some attention.
Mm-hmm.
Um, um, well, from me, it's like at this time. I mean, back then I don't know, but it does give me an indicator that there is something I can work on. That
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I mean, really, it's about him. It's his business. It's not about it's what he's going through his trip, what he learned when he was growing up, and he's now doing it on me, or some kind of head thing, or maybe he was paranoid, or um, yeah. So I can't control him. I realize that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like I don't want him to stop suppressing me because it's not something that I can control anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's go even further into it. Like, are there any advantages uh, that came out of this, of him restricting you in this way, that you saw as suppressing?
Um, that's a good question. Um, the advantage of him suppressing me.
We're just,
Um,
yeah. I mean, we're stretching here. We're looking to
I
see. I
know.
don't know if
Yeah.
we'll find anything or not, but
I'm trying to
I'm
be
just
as
asking.
imaginative as I can. And I guess if
Mm-hmm.
I was being thinking out there, um, it did keep me out of trouble.
Okay.
You know,
Interesting.
I didn't get pregnant.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, like let's pause on that for a second because that's the side that we tend not to look at, like it's like he suppressed me and that's a bad thing. But on the flip side of it is like you didn't get pregnant, right? And you didn't have
Fool
to
around
deal
and
with
yeah.
that
Hmm.
kind of issues. Yeah.
Yeah.
So doesn't make it right. It doesn't mean that that's the way to do it or anything like that. But if you're being open-minded, there is that advantage sitting right there, um, and
Right.
and there it is. Yeah, like my mom when I was in high school had me read. Well, she bought a book for me. It said "Nice Guys Sleep Alone," and I don't think I ever read it, but I just saw the title, and it's like it got burned in my brain, and it was, and then and then it's like she was suppressing me kind of in a way, but I didn't get anyone pregnant either. So it's like there's kind of there's a good side to it in a weird kind of way. And what we're seeing here, this is what the work is all about, is reality is it has it's more than just the story. It has more to offer. And if I look for it, I may find some of those good things that were also there, even if it wasn't exactly what I had wanted originally. So, any other thoughts on this turnaround? I don't want him to stop suppressing me.
Um, because that's what he does. And I mean that in a positive way where I was involved a lot in school, doing a lot of activities, which he never was involved in. So it's really odd. It was uncomfortable for him to um, being around someone that did sports and did choir and did was in plays and stuff like that. And so that's just what he does is because he's trying um, to protect his family, and it's very he's out of maybe unbalanced because um, this was foreign to him to be exposed to these different kind of um, activities.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
a very compassionate way of seeing it, like even if it was suppression, like this was all he could do. He had some, who knows, maybe old-fashioned ideas, or was just trying to protect his family, or something. Like there was something going on there, and just seeing that gives like a softness to it. Like he couldn't help it. um, yeah. So the turnarounds, it's funny because the turnaround sounds like, I want him, I don't want him to stop suppressing me. It's like, I want him to keep on suppressing me. It's not that I totally want it on one level, but I want it because that's the best he can do. Um,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. Okay. So what's another turnaround? If there is one, I want him to stop suppressing me.
Ah, I want me. Well, I want me to stop suppressing me. I know we already did. I want me to stop suppressing. Maybe we already
I think
did this.
we did that one. Yeah. I want me to stop
Okay.
suppressing me.
Um, I I want him. I want me to stop suppressing him.
Okay. So that is a turnaround. The question is, can we make any sense of that? Is there any way that that could
Yeah, yeah.
mean something?
I can make sense of that.
What do you say? Okay.
Because he gives it to me, and I was giving it right back to him. I was suppressing him and trying to make him fit into who the dad I thought he should be, and how he should act, and how his approach is. And so I probably, you know, walking around trying to control him. Uh, it was suppressing. I was suppressing him. Um, I'm sure it wasn't, a joyful time being around me um, when I reacted to him like that.
Yeah. So I'm just seeing you
Yeah,
guys were a real match for each other. He tries to suppress you,
yeah,
you try to suppress him.
yeah,
And I'm seeing more like two equals rather than top
yeah,
dog suppressing bottom dog kind of person thing. It's like
yeah,
you were trying to control him too, at least in your
yeah.
mind.
I pushed back, and
And you push back. Yeah.
what I want me to stop suppressing him by not seeing him as a uh, procrast. See, what am I thinking of? By not seeing him as someone that's laying down the law or whatever, but seeing him as someone who's that there's a way to talk. That there's a way to talk to him, and to be open with him by sitting down with him, and having a heart-to-heart conversation as much as that's possible. So instead
Hmm.
of pushing back, for me to stop suppressing him, is I would look him in the eye, with compassion and love. Um, yeah, I'd say, hey, when you're doing this, this is how I feel, and this is what is hurting. Um, and instead of just acting mad and pushing back, and yeah, does that
Hmm.
make sense?
It
I
does.
mean,
Yeah.
I could see that I could see my role in the situation, and I just thought I was surviving, and really I was just reacting to what he was doing.
Yeah. Like it all happens so automatically because it's all reaction. But the effect is that he may have felt suppressed, like he couldn't be himself, or there was something like, I don't know. I don't know your dad. I don't know your relationship with him, but there could have been a suppressing that he was feeling on his side when you're coming at him, and not, um, yeah, I don't know. Like this is what we're opening to the possibility of. That's all.
He probably thought it was a bummer having a daughter like me, because his first
Right.
daughter was very complacent, and
There you
so
go.
like, what's going on?
Yep.
Yeah.
You were thinking you had a bummer of a dad, and he was thinking, "Oh, I got a bummer of a daughter."
Daughter. What's wrong with her?
Yeah, yeah. And it can go even further, like, even years later, when you think of your dad, there can like, are you suppressing him? Like, that even the memory of him, are you suppressing him, or do you put him into a role of this guy's the bad guy, or this guy, I don't know. But this is also could be possibilities of how
Yeah.
suppressing him could continue even to this day.
Oh, yeah, I could see that. Yeah, it's really opening my eyes to, this, kind of energy that I've kind of pushed that direction, and that, um, seeing it kinda helps me release it. It's not needed.
Yeah.
And seeing what I'm doing is like, "Oh," it's
Yeah.
it's exhausting, and, yeah, it's not the way I,
Yeah.
wanna live.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the power of awareness. When I see
Yeah,
that isn't really what I want, that doesn't really work for me, then I don't even have to try to stop doing that. It just naturally becomes less appealing
yeah,
because the
yeah,
awareness is there.
mhm,
Yeah. So interesting stuff. Yeah. And then it's like if I see him as the one holding all the power, then I feel suppressed. But it's all a perspective, as we saw earlier. Like, I want me to stop suppressing me because that's what's making it even worse in this situation. And the less I see that I am under his thumb, the more I can be myself, even with his rules or conditions, as a child. And the more I allow him to be himself. Like, you can see the reverse of the vicious cycle starting to
yeah.
happen with playing with these turnarounds.